My dear friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In the last session, we just studied about the introduction to the gaseous state in a detailed and elaborate manner. In the last session itself, I said in this whole lesson, we use a basic formula that is called ideal gas equation. I will write it here so that you may remember it again. Ideal gas equation, that is nothing but PV is equal to nRT. So to apply this equation in various questions, you should know about these variables in this equation in a detailed manner, and that is what today we are going to study in this session. Actually, this equation contains actually five variables. In that, the first, this P represent pressure, this V represent volume, N represent moles or number of moles, and this T represent temperature. These four are the terms which we need to have a clear idea before entering into this main content of this lesson. And this R, as you already know, represent universal gas constant. So, in today's video, we will study in a detailed manner about pressure and volume. First, we will start with pressure. I will write it here. The first one is pressure. My dear friends, if I ask you what is pressure, as already you are preparing for exams, you all have an exam pressure. But that is not the pressure we are studying here. This pressure actually means the force which is applied perpendicular to the surface area. Let me write it here. After that, I will explain you in a clear manner. Force applied perpendicular to surface area. To understand this, I just consider a part of area that is in the form of a square here. Let a part of this part has an area as A. I'll take this area as A. Now I'm applying a force in this surface area which is perpendicular to this surface. Now this particular part where I'm applying a force perpendicular will experience some pressure. So the actual meaning of this pressure is that force that I am applying to the perpendicular to the surface area will create a pressure in this area. So I hope this itself is clear about the pressure. Why? Because don't get deep into some topics to understand or to get more marks. Don't confuse yourself with more explanations. This is enough to get a clear idea about pressure. And the next one is the unit of pressure. That is really important. Why? Because to confuse you, question setters will give various units in question and your answers. So just get an idea about what are the units we are using to calculate pressure. The first is SI unit. SI unit. The SI unit of pressure is Pascal. We can denote it as PA. But this is not the only unit we are using to calculate pressure. The various other units are bar, torr, mmHg or millimeter mercury, and we are also in terms of PSI we call it as foot pound foot per square inch, or we write it as PSI. In this, we will learn clearly about bar, tar and mmHg, but this PSI is very rarely used in question, but you can also get idea about that PSI in this lecture. So, as you all know, these are the various units used to calculate pressure, but the major SI unit is Pascal. So you should know how to convert these units into this unit. That is what we are going to see in terms of conversion factors. I will erase all these things so that I can explain you in those conversion units in a clear manner. I will write it here, conversion factors. My dear friends, whatever the formula or the values that I am giving here, you should memorize it in the same way so that you can easily apply it in the question and you can score more marks. The first one is to convert bar into Pascal. Here 1 bar is equal to 10 to the power 5 Pascal. Just remember 1 bar is equal to 10 to the power 5 Pascal. And the second one is in terms of atmosphere. 1 atmosphere is equal to 760 mmHg. The third one in terms of millimeter mercury, that is 1 mmHg is equal to 1 torr. My dear friends, here this bar we can convert it in terms of Pascal, as Pascal is a SI unit, so this is correct. But here we have atmosphere, mmHg, here 1 mmHg and 1 torr. Here there is no SI unit. So you should know how to convert this unit in terms of SI unit. Here this 1 torr, I am writing it here, 1 torr is equal to 133.3 Pascal. Here I'll just do a calculation in black ink so that you can write it in a different way and you can understand it easily. Here I have 760 mmHg. Just now I said 1 mmHg is equal to 1 torr. So without any doubt I can write this mmHg as 760 torr. Why? Because this can also be written as 760 into 1 torr. Now we have a value about 1 torr in terms of Pascal. I just write it here was 760 into 133.3 Pascal. My dear friends, now you have the value of atmosphere in terms of Pascal. Just multiply it, you will get the answer as 1 atmosphere is equal to 101325 Pascal. In terms of scientific notation, if you move this decimal 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, you can write 1.01325 into 10 to the power 5 Pascal. That is 1 atmosphere is equal to 1.01325 into 10 to the power 5 Pascal. Now we have the value of atmosphere in terms of Pascal. So my dear friends, before that I told you 1 bar is equal to 10 to the power 5 Pascal. Can I write 1 atmosphere is equal to, it is equal to 1 into 10 to the power 5 Pascal, or it is approximately equal to 1 into 10 to the power 5 Pascal? Yes, it's absolutely correct. Why? Because here I have 1 and then 1.013. So I can write this value as 1 itself. It's absolutely correct. And here I have 1 bar is equal to 10 power 5 Pascal. Here also I have 10 power 5 Pascal. Can I write 1 atmosphere is approximately equal to 1 bar? Yes, this is absolutely correct. So my dear friends, here I just told you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we can write it this as sixth formula, that 1 atmosphere, which is approximately equal to 1 into 10 power 5 Pascal, and this was 7th formula. Here I gave you 7 important values or the conversion factors that you should remember in an exact manner. Don't confuse with those terms, just remember in the same way I just teached you, so that even if you forgot any value, you can do some calculation in the examination and you can get a value. So my dear friends, just highlight all this value in a different color in your note so that you can easily revise at the last of your examinations. So now you have a clear idea about all the conversion factors that you use for the term pressure. After knowing all these values, you should get a question how we are calculating pressure, and that is what we are going to see in next. That is formulas that we are using to calculate pressure. Actually, the formulas to calculate pressure is different for liquid, solid and gaseous state. The previous session I just teached you there are 3 major states, that is solid, liquid and gas. So all these 3 states have a independent formula to calculate pressure. First we will see about solid. Actually, in the first session, that is in the first itself, I just teached you pressure is nothing but force I am applying perpendicular to the surface area. So for solid, the formula to calculate pressure is nothing but force per unit per area. I am writing it force by area. You can write it if it is 1 Newton and 1 meter square. You can write P in terms of the value or unit will be 1 Newton per meter square. Why? Because the unit of force is Newton and the unit of area is meter square. So you can write this pressure with a unit of Newton per meter square. But all the object will experience a gravitational force, which we call it as weight, which is nothing but mg. Not to confuse you, I will write it here, that is force is equal to W is equal to mg. That is what I just used here. So the formula to calculate pressure for solid is 2 major formula, that is the first one is pressure is equal to force by area and the second one is pressure is equal to mg by area, and the second is for liquid. The pressure formula for liquid is derived from solid itself. Thus, I just write this formula here also. P is equal to mg by A. This mass, can I write in terms of density and volume? Yes, of course. Why? Because density is equal to mass by volume. The formula for volume is area into height. I just write it here, volume is equal to area into height. I just substitute here, rho is equal to m by area into height. I just move this denominator to the numerator. I will get m is equal to rho ah. Now, can I substitute this value of m in this formula? Yes, absolutely right. I will write it here. P is equal to, in terms of m I am writing it rho A H into G by A. I'm cancelling area in numerator and denominator. I will get P is equal to rho G H. So, my dear friends, this pressure is equal to rho GH is the formula that we are using to calculate pressure for liquid. Here, the term rho represents density of the liquid. I'm writing it here, density of liquid. And the G represent acceleration due to gravity. The value of G will be is equal to 9.8 meter per second square, or it's approximately equal to 10 meter per second square. And the term H here represent height of liquid column. So my dear friends, here we have a formula to calculate pressure for solid and for liquid. And the third one is gas. So before we moving into it, I just erase all these things so that I can write the formula for gas. The formula for the pressure in terms of gaseous state is actually derived from what we call it as ideal gas equation. I'll write it here. That is for third one, for gas, the value of pressure is actually derived from this ideal gas equation. That is nothing but PV is equal to nRT. If I'm moving this volume to this denominator, I will get P is equal to nRT by V. So this is the formula that we are using to calculate the value of pressure for gaseous state. As I told you already here, this N represents number of moles or universal gas constant, T temperature, and V is volume. So my dear friends, now we have a clear idea about the formulas to calculate pressure for solid, liquid and gaseous state. One thing that is at the last we need to study is PSI. That is very rare that we see in questions, but you should get an idea about it also. So now I am writing it here, PSI. The full form for this PSI is pound force per square inch. In India, this PSI is very rare, but still in many countries they are using PSI to calculate the pressure. So without confusing yourself with this PSI, just remember the conversion factor to convert this PSI to Pascal. As Pascal is the SI unit, you just need to remember the value to convert this PSI into Pascal. I am writing it here. 1 PSI is equal to 6894.76 Pascal. Just without confusing you, remember this formula itself. As we are getting this value of PSI in terms of Pascal, you can easily convert it into other term with the values that I teach you just a moments before. So my dear friends, now we have a clear idea about pressure. We just know what is pressure, the conversion units, what are the units, formulas, and even we learned about PSI. So now we are moving to the second part of this today's video, that is volume. I'll write it here. The second part, that is nothing but volume. My dear friends, what is volume? That is really a simple question. That is nothing but amount of substance substance that is occupied in three-dimensional space. Whenever you see the units of volume, it will be in terms of meter cube, centimeter cube, or decimeter cube. All these in terms of cubic. Why? Because this volume is calculated in terms of three-dimensional space. That's why with whatever the unit for volume will be in terms of cube. So in this, the SI unit for volume will be meter cube, or you can tell it like cubic meter also. But normally we use liter for the unit of volume. I will write it here, that also common unit for volume is liter. But this too is not the only unit we use to calculate volume. There are various other units also. The various other units are centimeter cube and decimeter cube. Even there are milliliter also. So my dear friends, as you know the various units that is used to calculate volume, and the next thing you should remember is to learn about the conversion factor of one unit to the other unit. As I said in the pressure itself, whatever the units that we are using other than Pascal, which is the SI unit, should be converted into the Pascal. So in the same way here, the centimeter cube, decimeter cube should be converted into the meter cube, that is the SI unit. So now we are going to study about the conversion factors for the various units of volume. I'll write it here, that is the conversion factors. First, we will start from centimeter cube. 1 centimeter cube is equal to 1 ml. My dear friends, as I told you in pressure itself, just remember all the values. Why? Because you are directly going to apply it in question and you are going to get answer. Don't confuse with how these values came and all. Just remember these values, that will be useful to save your time in examinations. 1 centimeter cube is equal to 1 ml, and the second one is 1 decimeter cube is equal to 1 liter, and the third one is 1 meter cube is equal to 1000 liter. So here this ml and liter are not the SI unit, that is meter cube. So we should, this centimeter cube and decimeter cube are not in the form of SI unit, that is meter cube. So we should convert this all the units into the SI unit, meter cube. First we are going to see for centimeter cube. We already know 1 centimeter cube is equal to 1 ml. 1 meter cube is equal to 1000 liter. How this 1000 liter came means multiplying 1000 ml into 1000, which is 1000 liter. We can easily write it as 1 meter cube is equal to 10 to the power 6 centimeter cube. I said you already, this ml, which means 1000 ml combined to form 1 liter, and 1 meter cube is equal to 1000 liter. So multiply 1000 into 1000, which is nothing but 10 to the power 6. That's what I'm writing here, 1 meter cube is equal to 10 to the power 6 centimeter cube. Even I can write it as 1 meter cube is equal to 10 to the power 6 ml. Why? Because 1 centimeter is equal to 1 ml. So absolutely 10 power 6 centimeter cube can be written as 10 to the power 6 ml. I just highlight it with a box so that you can write it and remember it in an easy way. And the next one is decimeter cube. As you know, 1 decimeter cube is equal to 1 liter, whereas 1 meter cube is equal to 1000 liter. We can write 1 meter cube is equal to 10 to the power 3 decimeter cube. Why? Because 10 to the power 3 data defines 1000. So here we get a value of decimeter cube in terms of meter cube and centimeter cube in terms of meter cube. So now we just converted all the values or the other various other units into the SI unit, that is meter cube. And this meter cube is already the SI unit, so we need not to change any or we need not to use any conversion factors here. So my dear friends, now you have a clear idea about pressure and volume, and in volume you know what is volume, what are the various other units we use for volume, the various conversion factors for volume. So I hope this video is really useful for you. The first thing you should do is to write all the things whichever I am writing in this board in your note, so that even after this video you can revise it once. So my dear friends, thank you for spending your time with me. Just subscribe this YouTube channel and share this video with your friends. Thank you. Have a nice day.